Hello and welcome to the Devoted Outdoorsman Podcast.
What is up, Podcast Nation? How are you guys doing this week? I hope it's not too toasty where you are. It is extremely hot. Today at the shop, when I was working, it was 120 degrees inside the shop, not actual temperature outside, but inside the shop was 120 degrees. So it was really toasty today. But this week we got some pretty cool guests on the podcast. We have Steve and Curtis from Holy Space. What's the name of your podcast? It's
oh my God! What best intro we've ever had. See, first of all, this is how you know this guy isn't a fan, because he introduced me first, so I got the first billing on that. So thank you for that.
Well, I know you kind of always go through, and you guys kind of do the intro, correct? But like, was it a couple weeks ago you weren't there? You're in Canada or something like that.
That was, yeah. It was. I had to go out of the country on the 4th of July. For me, I needed to take myself away from the freedom to appreciate it even more. That's why I went.
Yeah, you can't argue with that.
For everyone giving me all that hate.
Thanks for having us on your show, man. We appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem. Thanks for coming on. So, like I was saying, we got the guys from Working Class BowHunter on the podcast today, and we're going to talk a little bit about how they got introduced into the outdoors, and we'll see where it goes from there. So, Curtis, how did you get introduced into the outdoors?
Man, I feel like my story is pretty basic, but I started gun hunting with my dad. We actually started hunting. My dad hunted when he was younger, but we started deer hunting at the same time. I was a youngster, 10-ish in that area. Gun hunted for a few years and never killed anything. And then my first year bow hunting, I killed my first deer on my second day bow hunting. And so I think that's just kind of what sunk me in to just be pretty much a bow hunter only. So I don't know, that's a long story short, but you know, basically what kicked off that fire and my dad to get us going into hunting was we were at one of my cousin's house. It was during first shotgun season, and he had shot an 8-point buck behind his house and brought it in. My dad, I remember like just looking at it, my dad's like, man, we should get into this. And then it's just kind of been full throttle ever since.
Okay, awesome. So you kind of have like a bunch of hunting going on in your family then.
Yeah, definitely. Like my uncles, I've always hunted, mostly gun hunting. I'm probably the most diehard bow hunter in my family on the side of the family I see the most. So yeah, it's a common thing, but I'm just bow only, so that's kind of uncommon in that sense. But it's yeah, I mean it's you know, the Midwest tradition type thing. It's not too uncommon, but I enjoy it.
So you guys don't have like a rifle season, like where you can use like center fire. It's shotgun only up there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shotgun and muzzleloader. And I talk about it on our podcast all the time, how I feel about it. I think Illinois needs to rearrange their seasons and do it like Iowa. But yeah, our first firearm seasons, you know, not talking about youth season, is the weekend before Thanksgiving, and second firearms the weekend after. So you got the Orange Army out there blasting at everything right during the rut, so it works out great. That's in my opinion, it's not how you grow big bucks. You know, I think you need to gap it out a little different, but it is what it is. It's a tradition for a lot of people, and it makes for good family time.
Yeah, for sure. So, Steve, how did you get introduced into the outdoors, man?
Let me say something real quick before Steve dives in on this. Yeah. This is probably going to be a really short story, but Steve's going to make it way longer than the one I told.
No, I'll ramble on for no good reason. So I grew up, I loved fishing. That was my thing. And, you know, every Saturday, everyone always talks about they'd wake up and watch Saturday morning cartoons. Well, I always wanted to watch fishing shows. And I always remember Bill Dance as a kid. And I always was like, man, I wonder where I can get one of the T hats. You know, not realizing it was just a Tennessee volunteer hat. But I always enjoyed that. We camped as a family. And I always like being outside. Well, you know, I grew older and, you know, I was always a big pro wrestling fan. I always saw Steve Austin wearing camo. Dude, no, my dad didn't hunt. You know, no one in my family really hunted except my dad's uncle. So when I, you know, got through fishing and, you know, got through high school, I was like, hey, you know, I kind of want to try hunting. You know, I just was looking back on some things and remembered how happy I was fishing and things like that. So I decided to, at first I wanted to get a, shotgun so I could deer hunt, but then I found out that, bow season's a lot longer. So then I got a bow and just started shooting and kind of, just fell in love with it, man. Sat outside, and I always remember how good I felt after I shot a bow, and I was like, man, this is weird. Like, I don't think I should be feeling this good just shooting arrows at a target bag, but for some reason I did, and it's stuck around since then.
I mean, we met not long after.
Yeah,
it was when we started the podcast.
Yeah. It wasn't too much longer after that, but yeah, then we got rolling on this podcast. So, I probably would have dropped out hunting if Kurt didn't make me get in a tree every week. Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
So, how long ago was it that you actually started hunting?
So we've been doing the podcast for 3.5 years. So
I think it was like 2 years before that.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think. I'm trying to remember now exactly.
He drinks a lot of beer.
I do. My memory shot. It was hot today where we were at.
I think if I remember correctly, man, when I met you, because Steve had another podcast at the time, a comedy podcast, and I thought you only had one season in. So it would have been like a year. You would have like a year and a half of being like dove into the hunting game when we started really.
Yeah, maybe 2 years. Maybe I did get out that one. No. It was.
Because you're pretty green. Yeah. You're pretty green. Steve's, and that's what makes the dynamic of our podcast. Is Eric Hammond's another host of our show too, and he's the experience between Steve and myself. So he's got. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
He's kind of like I've been hunting for the longest, bow hunting for the longest. Eric's in the middle, and then you're trailing behind Eric.
He brings the averages up, is what happens.
Yeah.
So that keeps us at a nice little, nice average. I'm not going to do math.
We got it all covered.
Yeah,
we got the dynamics.
I want to throw it out there, man. We're covered.
So you had a comedy podcast, man. That's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, I still do stand-up comedy. I don't know when you're going to release this podcast, but tomorrow I got to do a show at a bar in the middle of Iowa called Lost Nation, and I didn't even know where the bar was until about today. So I knew I was going to do this gig, and then all of a sudden...
so all you listeners out there, you want to look up that one and make that...
Yeah, I heard it was like the only bar there. I'm like, okay. I was like, man, I should have got payment up front for this gig, but it is what it is.
It's like a bar that's connected to a hotel off a highway somewhere.
Dude, if it's a hotel, it's probably a pay-by-the-hour hotel. I wouldn't want to stay there or sleep on that bed.
We'll think it'd be free stay for payment.
I
you're in.
Consider it that.
You're in.
Cheap.
So, what broadheads are you guys using this year? Kind of a controversial type topic. They've one side's over here, they're all like, oh, you got to have cut on contact, fixed blades. And then you got a whole other side of the archery industry that's like, oh man, mechanicals is where it's at. So where do you guys kind of fall in that?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. The last podcast that we put out, if you want to check it out, workingclassbowhunter.com. But we did it with Larry McCoy from Respect the Game TV, and Larry's a good buddy of ours, and he's one of the marketing guys for the Outdoor Group. And one of the broadhead companies they work with is Slick Trick Broadheads. And last year, I switched my whole arrow setup and my whole broadhead setup, and I started shooting the Slick Trick Raptor Tricks, which is a 2-blade expandable. I started shooting those for whitetails, and they're just devastating. And we're not sponsored by them or nothing, but they do help us out. They gave us a discount code. If anyone's listening and wants to check them out, I think Working Class 15 gets you 15% off, and I think it's still valid. But anyway, their broadheads were just devastating last year. I shot 5 deer with them last year. And they're just, every deer fell under 30 yards. Just insane blood trails. That doesn't mean that I think they're the best broadhead out there, because someone might have used them, had a different experience, and that's what brings that broadhead debate. But, for elk this year, I'm going to Colorado for a public land hunt in Colorado. Oh, I said Colorado already, but I'm doing the Viper Tricks, which is a fixed blade, made by Slick Trick as well.
Awesome, man. So, Colorado on an elk hunt, huh? Well, what time of the year are you going? Like, are you going to go in September, or are you going to go a little bit later?
I'm going what should be, as far as I understand, because I'm a newbie for elk. right in the rut. So I'm going to be out middle of September.
Awesome, man. Well, hopefully you get out there and you get one.
Yeah, man, I hope. Thanks, man. It's me, my dad, and it's actually one of our listeners, Jeremy Mayer. He's got a production called Buckstorm. He was a listener of our podcast, and we just kind of hit it off and became really good friends. And he's like, dude, why don't we just do like a DIY public land elk hunt so you can learn the ropes and build your preference points up in other states and units and all that. That way you can kind of get out and mess everything up on public ground and learn there instead of, burning all my learning curve experience on, a unit I saved 3-4 years on to draw a tag in.
Yeah, man, exactly. I've actually been thinking about doing the same thing as going to Colorado or Idaho. I'm not really sure which one yet, but they got the over-the-counter tags. I just got to find time and the money to go do it,
Yeah, no doubt. It's a lot of upfront costs your first year because there's just certain things as whitetail hunters that we just don't have already. Hunting, a lot of it, the initial cost is what'll get you, but like a lot of the stuff we're buying, me and my dad are getting is like Badlands because it's lifetime warranty. So, and the price is fair. So if something happens to it, just because we're just getting into it, and if we rip something on the hunt or mess something up, they got a lifetime warranty. So you just send it in and get it replaced.
Yeah, exactly. You got to buy that quality the first time. That way it lasts the rest of your life, basically.
That's the hope.
So, I did listen to a couple of your guys' podcasts. I did check a couple of them out, and they're pretty entertaining. The coffee one was pretty cool, and so was I heard you guys talking about elite archery. So how are you liking those elite bows? I mean, I hear you guys talking, how great they are. Is there anything that you're not liking about them? I don't know if there's not necessarily not liking, but something that you would prefer a little bit different or anything like that.
Man, I'll be honest with you. I grew up with Hoyt. I grew up shooting Hoyt. I've had I don't know how many Hoyts. I just was the big diehard Hoyt fan. And where I made my transition it was like year one of our podcast coming into the fall. I had bought a new carbon Spider. Remember this, Steve? I bought it brand new. I shot it for a few months. We went to a bunch of 3D shoots, and I was shooting good with it, but I just wasn't happy for just spending like $1,600 out the door.
You had your huge beard at that point.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was all gnarly. So what happened was I went to a pro shop in central Illinois here called Presley's Outdoors. It's in Bartonville, Illinois. And they had a Elite Synergy on the shelf. And I shot it, and I'm like, hey, went to the guy, I'm like, would you do a straight up trade like this? My Hoyt's 2 months old. Like this, the price difference was like $500 between the bows. And they traded me even. And that's what set me off on loving Elite so much. And I just became obsessed with them. And then it kind of snowballed into all our friends learning how good a shooting bow Elite is, the shootability of them, the smoothness, the forgiveness of them. And then pretty soon our whole circle of friends is shooting Elite. And then that kind of just rolled into us podcasting in the industry and being consistent, putting out good content every week or as best as we can and just meeting people. It ended up being where we're fortunate enough now to really work with Elite and all the guys from Respect the Game and a lot of the guys from the Virtue TV on Carbon TV. And that just kind of snowballed to where now we're a part of the Elite family, which is amazing. But
don't forget about Kyle
Weeder from the Journal. But that just, back to your question, I personally, the Ritual, the new one that's out now, there's not one thing I can find to nitpick it on. It doesn't even need vibration dampeners on it because the bow's so smooth and quiet. And it's literally the most efficient bow on the market right now. So you can't really argue with their numbers. And to anyone it sounds like I'm just riding the bandwagon, but that's why I gave that backstory of like growing up on Hoyt and then kind of realizing, you don't have to be so brand loyal. You can branch off and find what you love for yourself.
Yeah, I will personally say I am going to miss the Impulse Riser, that single limb. I always thought that was the best looking bow. They're keeping the E35.
They still sell the Impulse, so that's the thing.
And they do, but it seems like they're moving away from it. Now they're going to split limbs. Obviously, the engineers have figured out something to get the efficiency that you want. Like in the Ritual. The Ritual is a fantastic bow, and we even shot the target bows at ATA. I've told the story like 5 or 6 times. I'll tell it again because it was awesome. We were I was hungover. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but
I'm responsible.
In front of one of my heroes, Darren Christianberry, target shooter, great guy. We've had him on our show a couple times, and he's like, "Well, Steve, come on, now's your time to go ahead and shoot this Echelon 37 set up just for you."
Echelon's their target bow, their flagship target bow.
It's their so I'm like, okay. I'm like, Steve, you got this, man. You can be a professional for once in your life, you know. Put the hangover aside, and dude, I drew this bow back, and I'm thinking, don't fire. I'm shooting a back tension. I'm like, all right, man, just get to that click when you're at full draw, and that click hits, you're good to go. And I shot that probably like 4 or 5 times. I think a line was building up behind me, but I was like, dude, that is a great shooting bow for a target bow. Now, we've shot some other target bows here and there at deer classics and things like that, and you understand going into what it is, it's not going to be something that you want to take in a tree stand or anything.
Well,
like
no,
that.
it's just a different handling bow.
Yeah, and that thing was fun to shoot. It was
the point we're getting at is just if you haven't shot them, give them a try. But no, I absolutely love them, man. They've been great for us, and they're actually doing a pretty cool custom riser for us coming out here. We should have them hopefully in the next couple of weeks. It's Larry McCoy on our last episode talked about it. It's going to have our logo all the way up and down the riser, black and lime green with our logo all throughout it, and flow green strings, and it's a really awesome looking bow. I can't wait for everyone to see that.
Yeah, man, that definitely sounds badass. Like with the lime green or with the green and everything, I think it'll look really good. So, since I know you guys are hardcore archery people, so going from there, how do you feel about crossbows?
I personally won't hunt with one unless, I have to. But I don't think it should be like in Illinois, it's full season now, I believe. Isn't it?
Yeah, it was last year they did it. Last year, 2 years ago, they allowed it's year round, where it used to be, obviously you have disability or something where,
with doctor's permit.
Or doctor's permit, you can shoot it and that's fine. But the way that it used to be, it was after
December 15th.
Yeah, December 15th, which is the second gun season. You can shoot a crossbow.
Yeah, just after. I think that they're great, man. If you need to shoot one, shoot one. I don't think it should be full season for people that are able to shoot a compound bow, because it's a gun bow essentially. But I'm not against them. I think they're cool. They can be fun to shoot, but I probably, unless something changes or I really dive in and get an interest in it, I'll probably never own one and never put the effort into getting to know my way around one. It doesn't interest me.
And I always make the joke. I'm like, all right, I'm okay with like crossbow hunting year round as long as the trigger pull is a minimum of 65 pounds.
I guess maybe the only time I would shoot one is if like I was hunting hogs and a buddy had one. Was like, hey, try shooting this thing. Go kill a hog.
It'll be fun, dude, because we shot that Camex that they're part of the outdoor group too. So at the same time we were shooting those, and it was fun to shoot, but
it's just less appealing to me because it's just less of a process to shoot, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand where you're coming from with it. It's here in Oklahoma, it's been legal for, it's been all season. So from October 1st to January 15th, all of archery season, you can use a crossbow. And, I think it's been like 5 or 6 years since that happened. And at first there was a lot of people that were, against it. There were a lot of people that were very against it. But I think now that they're seeing that it's getting more children and, elderly people and stuff like that out there, people that normally would only hunt in the rifle season or whatever it may be, it's getting more people out there. It's getting a little bit more hunter recruitment. And, I think people are coming around to the idea. But actually, I picked one up a couple of years ago and kind of messed around with it. I shot that one last year, and like you said, it takes the whole draw or anything out of your archery hunt, and it kind of makes it kind of takes away from the challenge. So what actually I'm doing this year is I got the crossbow, and that'll be something I take out with my son or my daughter or whatever it may be. But I'm actually going to pick up a recurve and kind of start slinging that thing around and just see if I get an opportunity. And I'm not very good with it. I'm not very accurate. So I know my limits, and my limits are going to be 10, 15 yards. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens this year.
Yeah, no doubt. I have a recurve too, and I thought I was going to do the same thing, and I just never ended up going down that route. Probably part of it is getting a new elite and just becoming obsessed with that and not wanting to trade out practice time for the recurve, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I understand that. Especially when you have a nice compound, you know, and you're out there, you're going every day, or maybe not every day, or, you know, a couple times a week. A normal person practices a couple times a week. And, you know, you get that routine built up, and then you go pick up this bow that you're not necessarily as efficient with. You know, it could throw you off also. That's one thing I have noticed.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So do you guys have any big bucks that you're hoping to find on camera or have already found on camera this year from last year?
I have a lease that I'm learning what's there, so that's exciting. So I'm kind of finding that out as I go throughout the summer. And in Illinois, supplemental feeding is illegal, so we don't have the glory of like Eric and Doug. Eric's one of the main hosts of our show, and Doug's he's on a lot. They're both from Iowa, so they have the benefit of using big time supplemental feeding. So they get to see all these bucks on their trail cam, whereas me and Steve don't get to use that. So we don't have the monitoring system, I guess. But yeah, I had some good bucks last year. I don't have any fancy names for them. Just, you know, that buck with the split G2 or oh yeah, that buck with the good threes. You know, I have probably 4 or 5 that I'm hoping to see this year. One buck that I'm thinking, I only had a few trail cam pictures of him last year, but I know what area he's using. That I'm thinking could go in the 170s possibly, if everything worked out. But yeah, nothing. I don't have any fancy names for any bucks that I'm like tracking or anything like that.
I've got one deer that looked good last year. I only got a couple of really early morning trail cam pics of him. I named him Gucci Mane.
Is that the buck? Okay. This is on your small piece, right?
Yeah, that's at the small piece. And there's there's another buck that showed up that, I mean, real early on, dude, his like half his rack was busted up. I mean, this is like November 2nd, 3rd or something, you know, half his rack was just gone. And then the other half started diminishing, you know, late December. So I named him Old Dirty Bastard. I don't know if I'll recognize that buck if he comes back or if he even lived, but
dude, rapper names are the best names to name.
Oh, dude, it's the
so
best.
Funny.
It is the funniest thing to do because everybody's like everybody's got some lame ass names for their deer. You know, they're like, oh, you know, I'm just called one of our buddies' name. You know what I mean? The super
the typical TV show buck name.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you know, I'm gonna give these deer names that people are gonna remember. So if I shoot them, they're gonna be like, oh, dude, Steve shot Gucci. What's up?
Oh man, you see Old Dirty Bastard over there?
Dude, dropped Old Dirty Bastard today, man. Wu-Tang forever.
Dude, I have this buck that I kind of played games with last year, and I named him Tank, which is a basic deer name, but I'm totally changing it now. I'm going to find a rapper and I'm changing the name because that is a great idea. It's just off the wall, and I'm sure it starts plenty of conversations.
Can I name him right now? Because I have the best. If you're going Tank, simple, Dre. Boom, Dr. Dre.
Well, Tank is an R&B singer, so yeah, you can get away with that. Yeah, he's
okay. I call him Dr. Dre. Sorry,
I think Dr. Dre. I think that's way better.
Hey, you heard it here first. Name your bucks after rappers. They'll be unique.
It's like
the hunting industry isn't on this level yet. We're a step ahead of the game.
Dude, all the small bucks that aren't worth anything, you're seeing them like, yeah, that's a little SoundCloud rapper, a little pump. Wait till he graduates to become like, a J. Cole. Yeah, J. Cole or like a Rakim or something like that.
Well, that just showed how versed we are in the cultural game.
That's awesome. So, you said that in Illinois you cannot feed at all. So, like, what
Nope.
can you use supplements like a salt lick or anything like that?
Nope, nothing. Not at all. Not in season, not out of season, never.
And is that because
they sell it everywhere?
Really?
Yeah, it's I don't really know what it is. I think it's
No, I can tell you what it is.
Well, you don't know for sure.
Well, I can tell you from my insights.
Yeah, but you don't know for sure.
I'm gonna go with my instinct and say yes. I know.
I'm gonna say that you don't absolutely.
You can say that, and everybody has their opinion. That's what makes America great. What the deal is, they're trying to get it passed, and one of our buddies is a state senator for Illinois, Neil Anderson. He's been on a couple episodes. And he was kind of telling me that, you know, it kind of sucks that politicians who know absolutely nothing, not a damn thing about the hunting world, chooses our laws for us. It's like, how come you don't ask?
Yeah, but what I was going to say, you don't know if there's a biological side to this.
Well, but here's the thing. They're doing that 5-year study now. So that was the bill that was passed, that there's going to be a 5-year study, and then they'll determine if Illinois can feed again, and their big thing is CWD. Now, I'm sure there's probably, you know, a couple of DNR officers that are saying, yeah, it is, and that's the big controversy.
Well, here's the thing. Since I don't have a strong opinion on it, and I still don't feel like we know a lot, like what's the truth out here, we have an upcoming episode for anyone interested in this topic. Joe Humphreys, the owner of Big Time, which is a feed and supplemental mineral company. We're having him on in a couple weeks to talk about this whole issue. He knows a lot about it because that's his industry. And, you know, in Indiana they can do it, which is where Big Time's out of, and in Iowa they can do it. So Illinois is right in the middle. What study do we have to do? Why don't we just...
Can they not do that in Wisconsin, too?
Some counties they can, yeah.
So it's all 3 states around us. Shouldn't there be a massive outbreak?
That's the argument, man. That's the argument with the CWD. If it spreads it, you know, like Doug from Horny Buckseed on an episode said, you know, there's a corn on the cob and one deer eats off it and licks it and moves along. The other deer comes in, eats the same corn on the cob isn't the same thing as 2 deer licking the same mineral site.
Right.
It's a hot topic.
Hot fire.
Definitely is.
Guidelines.
I know down here in Oklahoma, we can feed or, you know, do whatever all year round. And I've heard, you know, rumors of it becoming an issue in the near future. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, going back to something you were talking about a minute ago. So you guys don't have hogs in Illinois, do you?
No,
not yet.
No, there was rumors of like Southern Illinois having them, but not that I've heard that's anything serious. Not like probably what you guys have.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous down here, man. And I think Oklahoma a lot of times gets overlooked when people think of hog destinations. Everyone I talk to from other parts of the country, they're like, oh, you know, hogs, they think California or they think Texas. And I'm just like, man, you know, you can come to Oklahoma and you can go just about any public land in the southeast part of the state, and you can find hogs. It's overrun with them.
Our homie Paul Biggs, who's an editor for Respect the Game, he's got hogs everywhere. He's down in Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's Oklahoma. We were supposed to go there last winter. We might try and get out and do that this winter.
It'd be awesome. And dude, one of my dream hunts, because I'm a Arkansas Razorbacks fan, dude, I want to kill a hog in Arkansas. You know, those are, and you know, you think about it, it's only a couple hours away.
I got property to hunt in Arkansas, so.
Do you? Let's go kill some hogs.
I might be able to.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, man, it's pretty ridiculous. And I remember when I was a kid, you know, 10, 15 years ago, I was younger, and I remember not ever seeing any hog sign. And now it's hard to go out anywhere near a river or a lake and not find, you know, just areas that are just rooted up and, you know, just muddy and, you know, hog wallows everywhere. It's just, you know, they're taking over.
What the hell happened? How did that happen? I've never really asked. Like, how did they explode? Just I understand how, you know, some of them got out, but like, how the hell did it just explode within the past couple of years? It seems like.
So it's not for sure, but my theory on it is we have a lot of guys in Oklahoma that hunt with dogs, hunt hogs with dogs, and there's contests all the time. And the thing I think happened is, you know, people got tired of driving from the big cities, whether that be, you know, Tulsa or Oklahoma City. They got tired of driving down south to where the hogs were on the Texas line. And they started bringing them farther north up to where there is public land on the lakes or on the river and kind of set them free. And I know that they're starting to get them in Kansas and they're in Missouri now. So, I mean, it'll be a matter of time before they just keep going if we don't do something about it.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
So what you're saying is people from the inner city ruin the country life. All right. Noted.
Yeah, man, and a lot of it is people that are trying to make money because, like, let's say you have 1,000 acres that's within 45 minutes of a big city down here. You can get people all day, every day that'll come out and spend $500 to go sit in a blind and shoot a hog. And that's what a lot of these people are doing. There's high fence operations popping up everywhere, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I understand people want to make money. And as long as they're doing it legally, I mean, they can do it, you know, as long as everything's legal. But when people are catching them in certain parts of the state and then bring them to other parts to let them go, now that I have a problem with because, you know,
no doubt.
they're just ruining ecosystems. They're ruining the habitat for other animals. And like certain parts of southeastern Oklahoma, I used to have a lease down there, and it's I wouldn't say mountainous, but there's hills. And what happened was the hogs would get down in all the valleys and the bottoms where the water was, and man, you would get a bunch of hogs in there, and you wouldn't see deer anymore. You know, because the deer go up higher on the hill, up towards the pines and stuff, away from all the hogs. So
that's what scares me about getting them in Illinois, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun to shoot, but they're a pain in the ass. So 50-50 there.
Yeah, I'd like to hunt them one day, but it's a hog at the same time. It's kind of like one of those things. Yeah, I did it. That'd be like kind of the type of thing.
Yeah,
I'd probably do the skull mount. I'd be pumped about it.
So then we've eaten pulled pork. Like, damn, we gotta go kill another one of these.
Yeah, you're probably right. Shoot as many as you can.
Yeah, man, and it's there's certain places down here where people are trapping them and they're catching 20 or 30 of them at a time, and they're literally just shooting them and throwing them in a ditch somewhere. And I mean, I understand that they're invasive species and there's just so many of them, but people that live in the city or live closer to the city, the suburbs. I mean, I know lots of people that would be like, hey man, you should ever shoot a hog that you don't want, just come drop it off at my door, I'll get it figured out. So I was like, man, I always try to find people that are trapped.
Yeah, I mean, that meat can go to someone hungry. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, man. And I know there's a couple organizations down towards Texas that are doing something like that. They're making processing them and taking them around and giving them away. So I guess there's some good use coming out of them.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you get some fun for hunting them, and if you can feed some people too, it's a win-win.
Hey, do you ever think you could eat some wild hog while watching Wild Hogs?
I could totally do it.
Have you ever seen? So have you seen that movie?
I was gonna say he just shut the podcast
I
off.
did. I'm sorry.
Listen, you can make dumb comments on our podcast, but to do it on somebody else's, you're crossing the line.
All right, I take that back. Wild Hogs 2 is the movie reference I wanted to make.
Dude, I haven't seen Wild Hogs 2. I've seen the first one. But I haven't seen the second one. Yeah, I could definitely do it, like a pulled pork sandwich or something with some good barbecue. Yeah, sit there and watch it. It'd be good.
And then Marissa Tomei looking beautiful at her ripe age. Yeah, dude, I'm down with that. I will drive to Oklahoma and we will have a nice weekend, me and you.
Oh my God.
Dude, we'll go. You come down to Oklahoma, I'll go find us some hogs. And if you're into it, man, they made it legal last year, and you can shoot them at night down here now. So that's a big thing. There's lots of people going out and offering guiding services where you can go out and shoot them with thermals.
Have they been doing that in Texas for a while? Because I remember seeing a bunch of videos of guys just like they're looking out like, all right, the tall ones are the cows, so don't shoot them. I'm like, oh God, really? Man, it's blowing the little pigs away.
Yeah, man, it's been legal to hunt them at night in Texas for a while. I don't know exactly how long, but it's been a while. Oklahoma just did it last year, and it's only on private property, and you have to get a permit through the state. So, but I mean, I guess they give them out pretty regularly. So,
something we got to do.
So the show that you guys are doing, how did that kind of get started? Did you guys just like kick around the idea, oh, we have a podcast, and now we're gonna have a TV show, or how did the idea happen?
Well, to be honest, our podcast, we've been doing it a little over 3 years. We're just over 230 episodes in our normal audio podcast series, which you can find workingclassbowhunter.com, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere, major that you're going to listen to a podcast, we're there.
Simple as you find this podcast.
Yeah. So, if you already listen to this, you know where to find podcasts, just Working Class BowHunter. So we've been doing our show once a week, for the last just over 3.5 years here now. And it ended up being last year, I got to talking to some people from Carbon, and it kind of got offered that, hey, would you guys like to do a show? And we kind of thought about it, how we would do it. And I always thought we'd never do video because it's a pain in the ass and anything, whatever. It all ended up snowballing where we figured out a platform that we're going to do. And so we just started filming and getting it going, and we got a great guy that's helping us produce it and edit. His name's Jordan Johnson from Whisperwood Outdoors. And he's starting a outdoor media company called Combination Creative that he's going to do all media work. So if anybody out there is listening, is interested in getting some work done for their show or a show they're wanting to start or YouTube channel or whatever, just get in contact with us and we can make the connection. But
highly recommend.
Anyway, Jordan was like, yeah, man, I'd love to be a part of that and help you guys get the show going. And So we kind of figured out how we're going to do it, what unique twist we could put on video podcast for Carbon TV, and we started filming, and it airs July 30th. So Monday, July 30th, and there'll be out a new episode every other Monday. And there'll be, I think we have 8 episodes scheduled for season 1, and then we already have big things planned for season 2. So it should be, hopefully it's a good turnout and just a unique twist on outdoor podcast.
So I kind of watched a video on your Facebook earlier of you guys were doing some wrestling. What was going on there?
I'll let you explain this one, Steve.
All right, so you
gotta explain your backstory on why we do the wrestling.
Yeah, here's the story on that. We were completely sober, and we had planned this venture. Like, I think we had planned this for probably 9 weeks in advance for a little 30-second video, and we executed it.
90 seconds.
Yeah. No, here's what happened. So we had our good buddies from the Whitetail Experience come in.
For Carbon,
yeah, and they got a YouTube channel, All Public Land Guys out of Ohio.
Well, you didn't elaborate. Like we're filming an episode with them guys that drove all the way in from Ohio. So one of the Carbon TV episodes is with the Whitetail Experience.
Yeah, it is. I wanted to shorten it up. Keep it short and sweet.
Well, we got to pump it,
one
son.
more. All right, yeah, but pump it up, son. Pump it up. So we did that. We filmed our episode. We were all just hanging out. You know, we're not gonna have them guys come in and send them right on their way. So they were hanging out. We were drinking some Busch lattes, and for me, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I was like, hey, we're drinking some beers. Oh, no. What happened was Kurt goes, hey, crack a couple beers together like Steve Austin does. And I go, well, I better stunner somebody. We better get it on video because I will do it. He's like, okay, we'll go ahead and do it. So Doug's our fall guy. And I go, Doug, do you want to take a stunner on video? And he goes, yep. I'm like, all right, Kurt, let's make it happen. So then we started getting it. Byron runs and goes, grabs his camera. He's like, all right, hold on. And I told Doug, I'm like, hey, Doug, this is how you got to sell this move. You know, I'm going to hit you with this. Boom. Kurt, you throw in the beers, crack it open, and drink it. All right. Pretty simple. Dude, we put the camera on, ran that through one take. Man, I was so pumped.
It makes us look so dumb, but we know how to have fun.
We could do that one take. And I went back and looked at it, and I go, man, I hope that was a good idea, because that doesn't make us look good. I don't look as good with my shirt off as I think I do. So
yeah, that's a problem, man. We got to talk about that after this.
So whenever I'm like, oh, dude, I'll take my shirt off in front of the camera. I don't care. Like, I'll do whatever to get people to laugh, which is fine. But then I realize, like, my mom follows me on Facebook and stuff and can see this. So, what was cool for the boys, all of a sudden it's like, hey, were you okay to get home last night? Yeah, why? Oh, yeah, you saw the video, didn't you, Mom? Sorry.
Yeah, that's us.
Well, I thought the video was awesome. I was laughing when I was watching it. I was just like, what is going on here? So I had to ask. I had to find out what was going on.
Well, I guess that's like kind of the nail on the head of like kind of what our whole show is about. Like, you know, we cover the tips and tactics and all that stuff, but it can't all be that. You know, we got to have some fun. And we do our best to try and mix it up on the show and make it, you know, like it's a hunting camp type feel. You know, you're not just going to talk about tips and tactics and, oh, here we are talking about the draw length and the brace height. Like, we're not doing that the whole time and talking about arrow spine and FOC the whole time. You know, we're going to mix it up and have a good time like everyone should. You know, we want it to be entertaining and educational too if we can.
Well, I think that you guys have a great podcast and hopefully a great TV show going on over there. And I can't wait to watch this first episode, man.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Dude, you got to see some of the work that Jordan has done is awesome. I mean, you know, I know most of the guys here work hard for this. I just kind of show up and get really drunk and say dumb stuff. But, hey, man, everyone's working hard. Jordan's put together a really nice little project. He's made, I think our vision that we had, it's what we looked at, we're like, all right, we want to do this. We put it out there, and then what Jordan, you know, mixed in his little video magic.
Jordan's our producer.
And made it happen, Jordan, our producer. It's much better than I ever imagined. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we hope it goes over well, man. You got to be in the video. You got to be in the podcast to watch it, obviously, because it's a video podcast. So if you're in a podcast already and you're sitting down wanting to relax, they're shorter podcasts because it's video, so we're not going to make you sit there for 3 hours. But, yeah, well, we hope people are going to enjoy it, man. And if not, we'll just keep doing it anyway. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Man, that's what really matters. As long as you're having fun, I mean, the people will come. The people come eventually. They'll come to laugh or whatever it may be, learn a little bit as well. So, is there anything that you guys need to plug, your sponsors or anything like that?
No, we don't got to really plug any sponsors, but, you know, if you're interested in finding us or following us, whatever, Working Class BowHunter Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, WC BowHunter on Twitter. Yeah, workingclassbowhunter.com. You can pretty much find anything you want to find there. We have YouTube. We don't really push for YouTube very hard, but once Carbon TV launches, we're going to have more videos and stuff to upload. And so it might be worth following us there. All the episodes get uploaded there. So if you're a YouTube guy or gal, you know, you can listen to us there and hopefully enjoy it. Let us know if you do.